A man finished explaining the current predicament. He stated Alba had been suspended from the order for some time and had nowhere to go. Alba questioned why she was being involved. Alba then turned to Carlo, asking him for a favor. She requested he look after the silver-haired girl and specifically live with her. Alba also asked Carlo to teach the girl what happiness felt like. The chapter was authored by Yogi. Carlo explained this place used to belong to his grandpa, but he lived there alone now. He mentioned he had tried to prepare a room for her. Silver-haired, the girl admitted she was new to this world. Clutching a tattered map, the warrior hesitated at the threshold. Beyond the mountains, the prophecy awaited fulfillment. She offered a stuffed animal, thinking knights loved them, but then remembered Alba was her advisor, not a little sister. Alba cut her off, stating she didn't need anything else. Alba declared she was fine as long as she had a place to sleep. The silver-haired girl accepted Alba's response with a quiet, "Oh, okay." 1 year later, Carlo asked Alba if she had acquired even more stuffed animals. Alba let out a startled gasp. Carlo told her to knock first, then noted the girl had settled in surprisingly well. Alba squeezed the stuffed animal, calling it tonight's favorite. Carlo greeted Alba as she entered, the familiar scent of home filling the air. Alba shrugged off the comment about her armor, explaining it was just her everyday attire. Carlo mused that perhaps Alba simply owned no regular clothing. He then called out to her again, a new thought forming. Carlo offered to go clothes shopping with Alba, but she immediately refused. He noted that Alba seemed persistent in her refusal. Alba reacted with surprise to his continued attempts. Carlo observed Alba's slight annoyance and offered to tie back her hair. Alba recoiled, telling him not to touch her. Carlo quickly apologized, explaining his reaction stemmed from caring for his sister. The silver-haired girl thanked. She thought Alba definitely hated her. The girl worried if living together would really work out like this. 1 year later, Alba called out to Carlo. Carlo asked what was up. Gesturing between their locks, Alba questioned Carlo about his hair. She motioned to her own hair first, then his, curious about his styling routine. With a playful grin, Alba proposed styling Carlo's hair for once. Carlo agreed, commenting that living together was going great. He observed that Alba looked happy. Carlo then asked what happened to that injury. Alba gestured vaguely at her arm. She explained she broke up a fight and was a bit rusty, having messed up. Carlo insisted they needed to treat the wound immediately, but Alba dismissed it. Alba believed the wound would heal on its own if left alone. Carlo countered that wasn't how it worked, announcing he was taking a bath first. Alba told him to leave her be, stating that incident was a year ago. A panel marked the transition to the present day. Alba understood Carlo's instructions to chop the vegetables, proceeding without delay. Uncommon as it was, Alba's help with cooking drew Carlo's comment. Concerned, Carlo suddenly exclaimed, checking on Alba's well-being. Alba admitted she cut herself and asked Carlo to fix her up. Carlo grumbled, gesturing for Alba to let him see the food she wasn't touching. He nudged the plate closer, boasting that the legendary Carlo himself had prepared it. Alba simply stated Carlo's name, her tone flat. Carlo paused, fork halfway to his mouth, and asked where she was going. Alba replied she was just heading to a ball for work, her expression unreadable. He then inquired if there would be women there, and she conceded it was likely, given it was a ball. Alba admitted she wasn't really feeling up to it either, but she had to go. Carlo playfully asked if she wanted to come too, then immediately recoiled, exclaiming why would he even ask that. He then conceded it was fair, but mused she'd look great in a dress. Alba stood, announcing she was heading out. Carlo called out, his voice suddenly serious. His gaze sharp, he warned her not to let her eyes wander. The hooded boy promised he'd be back soon. A thank you message from Tier Capabast appeared. Alba asked Carlo what he was doing, and he replied it was just his morning training. Carlo pointed out it was only 3 a.m., not quite morning yet. He reminded Alba she was no longer a knight and could sleep in, but she dismissed the idea. Alba insisted she must always remain strong. Carlo wondered aloud what it would take for Alba to finally rest. The scene shifted to the present day. Someone commented that something smelled amazing. Approaching Alba with a warm smile, Carlo announced that breakfast was nearly prepared. Pouring coffee into 2 mugs, Carlo hummed a cheerful tune. Observing Alba's drowsy demeanor, Carlo remarked that she still seemed tired. With her remarkable olfactory senses, Alba detected the food's aroma. Noticing this, Carlo inquired about her ability to distinguish scents. The distinct scent of cake became unmistakable to him. Carlo explained he'd baked it that morning, believing girls liked sweets. He then asked if Alba disliked sweets. Alba replied that knights had no need for treats, and he should eat it himself. Carlo insisted he really wanted her to have some. Home, she realized with a quiet certainty, was where she now stood. There, in the familiar silence, she found solace. Yesterday's cake caught her eye, its presence a quiet comfort. She was glad she had made a whole one, unsure if it would be enough. Alba offered, telling the silver-haired girl she had saved some for her too. The silver-haired girl's eyes widened as she asked if she could have the whole thing. She exclaimed in disbelief, asking if the entire cake, Alba's dream, was truly hers. Alba suggested a walk along a path lined with beautiful mimosas, offering to be her guard. Alba thought she had managed to get the girl to come along, but still felt uncertain. She felt the pressure of the situation intensely. Alba admired the silver-haired girl's beauty and dignified presence. A man's voice called out, "Hey." Alba wondered if the scarred man was looking for an opening, then apologized for the assumption. The scarred man remarked that spring had finally arrived, and Alba agreed. He observed that Alba seemed happier now. He commented that she had brightened considerably since they last met. Alba offered another quiet apology. He pointed out that she was staring. Alba retorted that she didn't leave openings, surprising him with her sudden exclamation. He called out to Alba, suggesting a walk, but then hesitated. He wondered if Alba had truly been looking forward to this outing. A message thanked patrons for making the translation possible, listing several names. Alba noticed everyone around them had started staring. "Alba, could you perhaps stay behind me?" "Whoa! Watch out, he looks dangerous. Be careful. Pickpockets are all over the place here." "Oh, thank you so much." "But still, smug face. You totally overdid it. It wasn't that big of a deal. You're not acting as a knight right now, you know? Yuh. But maybe just hold them back or something next time. Let's try to be a little gentler, okay? Anyway." The silver-haired girl thanked Alba, calling her cool for the rescue. She then called Alba a weird guy for scolding and praising her at the same time. A year later, Alba was at a shop. Alba asked for some bread. The shopkeeper thanked her for the purchase. Suddenly, Alba felt a strong sense of déjà vu. Suddenly, a voice demanded she give something back. Threateningly, the voice vowed release hinged on immediate compliance. Desperately, a voice implored her to surrender the object now. Carlo rushed in, apologizing for his mistake and warning Alba to stay vigilant. Alba thanked him, promising to be more careful and calling him amazing. Alba gave a slight nod, her gaze fixed on the girl beside her. The silver-haired girl giggled, tugging Alba's arm and urging her home. Heavy footsteps echoed as they walked, the girl mimicking the sound with a playful stomp. She recalled how Alba had easily defeated opponents much larger than herself. The girl wondered aloud if Alba had truly taken them all down. She referred to Alba as that female knight, her expression thoughtful. The girl then described Alba as currently enjoying a peaceful tea time. She excitedly declared that there was still more to come. Alba admitted she wasn't accustomed to this new life, but thought the girl fit in well. The girl offered Alba more tea, her tone casual. She stated the importance of taking breaks, then yelped in pain as she accidentally bumped something. Alba questioned if this mishap was also part of the break, as the girl stumbled. The silver-haired girl cried out, asking if Alba was okay and if she'd burned herself, then dismissed it as overreaction. She insisted Alba's hands were important. The silver-haired girl added that Alba's hands were especially important. Alba admitted that was the first time anyone had worried about her like that. The silver-haired girl countered that blocking a sword was worse, and Alba couldn't compare the two situations. She observed that, in the end, Alba had simply let the man handle it. Alba apologized. A message thanked patrons for making the translation possible, listing several names. Fretting, Carlo had no idea what he was doing a week after Alba moved in. A gasp escaped Carlo. That he had always lived a quiet life alone, Carlo reflected. Admitting, Carlo never had a reason to get close to women. He then asked Alba to look after the silver-haired girl for a while. Carlo recalled there was one exception to his rule. He identified the person who dumped the girl on him as Louise, an operations assistant and his former senpai. Carlo remembered Louise challenging him to sparring matches back in school, which he always refused. He explained he couldn't keep the girl at his place, asking if Alba would take her in like a stray cat, noting Louise always picked on him. Carlo had thought Louise would have calmed down after becoming an assistant. Requesting Alba take the girl in and teach her happiness, he broke his usual silence. Alba's hesitation lingered before she finally nodded, her voice soft with reluctance. For Louise, the shift from resentment to hope seemed as fragile as morning frost. Carlo decided he would confront Louise directly and explain he couldn't handle the situation. He plainly refused. The scarred man scoffed, asking what Alba could possibly know after only a week. He wondered what understanding she could have gained in such a short time. Alba conceded the circumstances were beyond her, and she didn't have the full picture. The scarred man explained that Alba was a former warrior of the Knights. In every other capacity, she was utterly useless, he added. Useless beyond her skills, she remained, he insisted. Fighting defined Alba's worth, he declared. Beyond combat, she had no value, he concluded. Alba announced she was leaving for a while. Carlo countered that she would need a lookout if she was going out. A trembling mailman held out a letter, addressing the owner of the house. The mailman stammered, hands shaking, asking if the recipient was an assassin. He quickly clarified he was just the mailman, not involved in anything dangerous. Alba remained silent, her gaze unwavering, leaving his attempts to provoke a reaction futile. He complained that she had ignored every question he asked from the start. The mailman confessed he was truly struggling and needed someone's help. He admitted he couldn't live with someone as beautiful as her, his voice strained. Alba scoffed, demanding to know what he found so amusing. She remarked that he was the first person to ever call her beautiful. The scarred man asked what the other nobles called the silver-haired girl. He explained they labeled her a savage, damaged goods, and just a pawn, facing prejudice as a female knight. He added that even when she fought for the people, no one offered thanks in this world. The scarred man mused that Alba lacked the basic courtesy of being seen as human first. Asserting his conviction, he stated Alba needed someone like the listener to provide that. Sighing, he felt manipulated. Muttering about returning home to Alba with the gift, he felt utterly pathetic. Questioning why he was always like this, he noticed Alba had returned. Alba stood in her full armor outside the house, guarding the perimeter, and mentioned a letter for him. He recognized the letter as being from his sister. He thanked Alba for taking the letter for him. Alba simply nodded in response. The hooded boy announced he had delivered the package safely. He insisted he should resume his guard duties, then quickly added it was fine. Carlo invited the hooded boy to dinner, brushing off his protests to leave. A message from Tier Capabast thanked patrons for making the translation possible. Alba greeted Carlo with a sleepy, "Good morning." Carlo told Alba he was making breakfast. He instructed her to come eat when it was ready. Alba, still in bed, told Carlo she shouldn't look but would come down soon. Chapter 5 was displayed. Remarkably, Alba at least looked like she would eat breakfast, Carlo observed. Observing her demeanor, Carlo noted Alba's apparent readiness for breakfast. With a comment on her appetite, Carlo remarked about Alba's breakfast intentions. Alba watched the silver-haired girl devour her food at an alarming speed. Alba gently suggested the girl could take her time eating. She explained that eating quickly allowed for immediate reaction to threats, though Alba insisted no enemies were present. Starting to protest, the girl stopped short. Alba noticed the girl's hesitation but said nothing. Alba asked if the girl was all right, noticing something was wrong. The girl hissed, admitting the food was definitely hot, but insisted she was fine. Alba offered to cool the food down, telling the girl to leave it. She refused Alba's offer, shaking her head. Then the girl excused herself, stating she needed a moment. Without hesitation, she left the food untouched, disappearing into the hallway. Warning the silver-haired girl not to stand in the middle of the room, Alba noted she had burned herself. Instructing the girl not to move, Alba promised to fetch water immediately. Resolutely stepping into the hallway, Alba vanished toward the kitchen. The silver-haired girl wondered what had just happened. She exclaimed how fast it was. Alba pondered her next move. She considered resting but decided against it, deeming it lazy. Another option occurred to Alba. She wondered if she should do the laundry. The silver-haired girl admired Alba's strength. Alba apologized, but the girl waved it off and suggested another task. Alba mumbled that it felt as difficult as washing dishes. A loud cry of "Chuagra" broke the silence. The silver-haired girl asked if Alba was all right, then noticed a glass shard in her hand. Alba cried out in pain. Recalling her apprenticeship, she offered to help with the cleaning. Wanting to check in, Carlo called out to Alba about her progress. With a glance at the mess, Carlo suggested they grab extra rags. Noticing the soaked tiles, Carlo asked if Alba was okay and pointed to the pooling water. A loud splash echoed. Declaring herself useless, the silver-haired girl watched Alba's dejected expression. As Alba's fingers trembled, the girl noticed a glint of crystal in her palm. Wondering why Alba remained silent, the girl stared at the shard in her hand. "Instead of scolding me, you're worrying about me? I don't understand. Isn't that just common sense?" After a pause, Alba recalled something. Sighing, Alba turned her gaze elsewhere. With a frustrated huff, Alba confessed her struggle with the stubborn jar lid. It was her favorite jam, she explained, but the lid simply wouldn't budge. Suddenly, the jar popped open, and Alba declared it was a piece of cake. The girl thanked Alba profusely, relieved to have her jam again. Alba tasted the jam and found it truly delicious. From then on, Alba eagerly took the initiative to open jars herself.